What's up, guys? I'm doing another video laying down. I know, still recovering from my surgery again. Nothing life threatening. I'm actually recovering very well. And hopefully, the next video I make is going to be of something, me actually at least sitting up. And actually, I'm hoping to start my plan soon to kind of add some different stuff to this channel. But I'm a little late to the game on this, but I actually wanted to wait a little bit on doing this before I put up a video because we just had WrestleMania. And I gave my little video on that. But we just had WrestleMania, and it's very typical of WrestleMania. For after WrestleMania, they do kind of a roster reshuffle, and they let some people go. Now, they did that, and some of the names are quite surprising, to be honest with you. Now, one thing, so I got a list here of names that they went through, and I'm going to give kind of my general opinion of this. Some of these names I really don't know, which I mean, I get why they would get rid of them then. Or, it's like if you don't really know who they are, or they're not really, how should I put it? If they're not on TV or it's not really clear, then, WWE's not making money. Obviously, merchandise is a big game with WWE. If you're not selling, if the merchandise isn't selling, then they're probably going to let them go. But two names, so right off the bat, two names here, Aleister Black and Zelina Vega. Now, you weren't familiar with them. Aleister Black was actually in AEW. He went to AEW because he didn't feel like he was being used on WWE well enough. Zelina Vega was his wife. She stayed with WWE, was fired, was brought back because the fans got so behind her. And she had a decent run for a while. But they were husband and wife. And recently, Aleister Black and Zelina Vega kind of formed their group again. And they're kind of having these interactions on WWE with Sami Zayn and some other people. And here's the thing. Okay, here's the thing. When Aleister Black came back, okay, his bringing back, the way they brought him back was not, I don't know, how do I put it? They didn't do anything special. He just kind of showed up. One thing I've said, and this is a kind of a going through this list. I'm again trying to make it quick, but one thing I've said about WWE, and I agree with this, I think AEW doesn't do it very well either, and WWE has kind of lost. They used to do it really well, but WWE doesn't do it very well anymore. They don't do a very good job of setting up people either coming back or people debuting. There's just not. They just kind of show up, and I don't like that. If you're going to build somebody, and Aleister Black, well, I don't know if he was ever a main event guy. He was definitely not used well in WWE, and that was a problem. He didn't like the way he's being used. I think he will absolutely show up in AEW again. By far, he'll show up in AEW again. Maybe TNA, although TNA and WWE have kind of a deal. So I think anyone going to WWE, or anyone going to TNA, I think WWE has to have, I think TNA will take anyone from WWE if they feel like WWE might use them and get more TNA exposure. But the thing about Aleister Black, he always kind of had the mysterious thing, and also, I'm actually going to combine. Okay, so I'm going to take Aleister Black, and I'm also going to combine Wyatt Six. The entire faction was let go. These people were kind of remind me almost of the Undertaker-esque in that how they should have been. I think how they should have been presented on TV. They just kind of were kept in this weird spot. Aleister Black for the longest time was basically doing backstage promos and these segments. He wasn't really on TV wrestling, so you can't really expect the crowd to get behind him. And the Wyatts, I love the Wyatts. I always thought the Wyatts were amazing. I mean, I loved when Uncle Howdy, the Fiend, Bray Wyatt. But I never felt like WWE truly wanted to give them that space, because I remember when Wyatt Six debuted and they did the whole thing where they had him tear up the back and they were like, oh, this danger. I was like, nah, okay. Maybe they're going to make this group like a really sinister, scary, Undertaker-esque kind of feel to it. Like they're not human. They're supernatural. But they kind of just became this group that became too much. You know what it was? They became too much reliant on celebrating Wyatt, which, again, I get that. They never let them quite take their own, and they never let them really have that big stage. They honestly, he should have been. I mean, they focused. He should have been in, and I say he. I mean the Wyatts. They gave him the tag team championships, but he really should have been. Uncle Howdy. He really should have been. Or Bo Dallas. He really, really should have been. Going for a very substantial title, whether that was the Intercontinental. You could go for the U.S. That's basically the second title. I think that's on SmackDown. Or go for one of the main titles for WrestleMania, because I just feel that he didn't. There's this year or last year into WrestleMania, whatever. I was focused on basically four people: Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, CM Punk. And then you could throw. The fourth there was really kind of Randy Orton kind of, but Randy Orton kind of came in later. I would say the three would Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, and Roman Reigns, and then whatever kind of around them, whoever was around. So then Usos and AJ and Cody, some other people. It was like. That's who they focused on. So everyone else was kind of lost in the mix. And I feel like, I just feel like because of that, a lot of these people who got let go were people that they just didn't, they couldn't lose. But Aleister Black absolutely is going to be AEW. I think the Wyatt Six, the whole faction could show up on AEW. I don't know if they can bring the Wyatts over, but or bring any kind of idea of the Wyatts, but they will. I could absolutely say AEW bring them over. But the problem with AEW basically does the same thing. I don't think, and they especially, AEW is so wrestling oriented that they really don't tell storylines very well, and they kind of stay away from the whole like bigger than wrestling or the whole again I'm going to use Undertaker as my example, but the whole like supernatural thing. They just stay away from it, and that's a shame. So I think though they will show up there. And it'd be interesting. Now, another name on here is Kairi Sane. They were doing some stuff with her, WWE, but again, I think she got lost in that bubble. She was with Asuka, and Asuka, was going to be the one that's get pushed more, and they just, it was like she's not going there. But with the women's division, Kairi Sane, she's AEW bound. For me, she's AEW absolutely. Then there's Apollo Crews. He might show up in I think he's with TNA. I'm going to go TNA, and again, he wasn't on TV. I was kind of showing up a little bit here and there, but all around, I'm not surprised he was let go. Then we have Motor City Machine Guns. I was surprised when they brought him into WWE. But again, they brought him into WWE. When you've noticed when they brought him into WWE, the first time they came in, what happened? There was no hype. They just showed up. I think they came the next week, the Motor City Machine Guns. Or there was video packages that kind of went, eh. But they didn't throw them to anything big. They gave them the tag team titles. They took them off of them pretty quick. And then that was it. They had a couple things on TV, but I don't know if one of them got hurt or something, but that, it just didn't work. I think they'll show up back in TNA. I can see them going back to TNA. Santos Escobar, he's another guy that was, he had his group there. He was the leader of the Legado del Fantasma. I think he's another one of those guys that could show up in AEW, could show up in TNA. I'm wondering if he's going to show him though in AEW. AEW's kind of has a lot of Mexican wrestlers right now, and I could see them doing a faction if they get him in there, just doing like a faction with those guys. So I could definitely see that happening. I'm trying not to lift this too high because you can see my damn bald spot. I'm losing my damn hair. Then we have Zoe Stark, who had a bad injury with her leg. I guess it was just near healing, but they decided to let it go. Again, if you're going for that long and they don't have a spot for you, they're probably going to let you go. In this case, that's what they did. She could show up again, TNA, AEW, absolutely. Alba Fire, really, I think was used bad in WWE. She was basically Chelsea Green's, tag partner for a while, bodyguard. Just really a good wrestler that wasn't used right. And my guess is she probably looks at this as a blessing, will go on independence for a while, and then if she does get that offer from AEW, NXT, or excuse me, AEW or TNA, she would take it. Andre Chase was let go NXT again. Not surprised, wasn't used much. Then there's two names here that I really, they were let go, but I'm really not sure who they are. So those names, though, I think I went over there. Again, it's the normal thing they do in WWE after WrestleMania. They really just kind of do a cutting of the roster, save costs and everything. But one of the big things too that came out, and I don't think they were fired, but apparently the New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods did not renew their contracts. Apparently, it was not that they were released. Now, I don't know. What I find interesting is that whenever someone's released from WWE from their contract, there's a 90-day clause in that contract. They cannot be on TV for 90. Actually, I don't think they can do any other wrestling organization for 90 days. So it's going to be 3 months or so before we see any of these names show up anywhere. Those guys, because they didn't re-sign their contracts, can possibly show up, I believe, in any wrestling organization. I am almost guaranteed with the friendship that Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods have with Omega, they are going to AEW. Absolutely. Now, it would be interesting if they can keep that. I don't know if they can keep New Day. New Day, I think, is WWE. But if they can, I mean, absolutely, they're AEW. They probably be used there decently. And they're still in very good shape. They're still in the prime. They can still use stuff. So that one is huge. But it frustrates me. Especially the Wyatts frustrate the hell out of me because this is the problem I have with WWE right now. While AEW can't tell a story for crap either, WWE concentrates too much on the same people for way too long. I have no issues with Cody Rhodes, but Cody Rhodes has been like a main event guy for 2 years. I wouldn't mind seeing him drop down and bring somebody up. Roman Reigns wasn't around, and now he's back. And I don't know, that pisses me off even more. If you're going to be a wrestler, be a wrestler. Don't do this part-time BS. Brock Lesnar, okay, I get Brock Lesnar. He retired supposedly. But a guy like Roman Reigns, who's not like doing movies or anything or whatever he's doing, but like, why is he the champion? He's not a full-time champion. I don't know how long he's going to stay around for this time, but I guarantee you ain't going to be that long. I get sick of these. Cody Rhodes, he works his ass off. I'm not saying that he doesn't work his ass off. He's not a wrestler, but I'm saying he's been on the championship main event status for I don't know how long. Drop him down. Have him go down and do something else. Bring some guys up. The Wyatt 6 would have been great. I loved what they did with them when they first debuted and they had them destroy everything. It was like, oh, cool. They didn't do anything like that. WWE needs to learn. It kind of feels back when like the fans wanted something to happen, but Vince was like, no, I'm pushing this guy. It's getting a little bit like that. TKO is doing stuff to WWE that is really pissing off a lot of fans, whether it's the money, whether it's how they're pushing people, whether it's how they're using certain talent. It just doesn't make sense. You can't do that. And I know a lot of people are going to sit there and go, oh, look at this guy just talking. A Mark's talking. Well, yeah, call me a Mark. I don't care. I'm a wrestling fan. I've enjoyed wrestling for my entire life. I'm going to enjoy wrestling for the rest of my life. But I think it's fair to say I can have a say in what I'm watching and what I would like to see. I might be one out of 100 people that feel this way. Everyone else might be thinking that what they're doing is great. Me, I don't think the storylines are that good right now. I think they have, they can tell better stories and whatnot. I got to brush my teeth. And, but it's a shame that these people got let go. But I do think a lot of these people will have opportunities with other organizations. And I think we will see them on TV sooner rather than later, as soon as that 90 days is up. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know I'm laying down my videos and, I'm resting. Again, I'm getting through this, hopefully not too much longer. And I appreciate the support. If you see this video, please like, subscribe. That'd be great. If you're already a member, thank you for watching. I know these videos come as they come, and I would like to do more, and I do plan to do more. Just got to get my health a little better, and I'm on the road to recovery on that. So God bless you guys. Love you guys, and peace.